Atlas in the hot seat tonight.
And Atlas.
Goes by the name of Atlas the Bookkeeper. How you feeling, my friend?
I should react to Metokur watching me? I don't even know anything about that. See, okay, someone earlier, I was going to address this, but it scrolled off the screen. They said, Phil, do you regret not actually allowing Metokur to interview you like 2 years ago when you were interested in an interview? Because he was one of the people who stepped up and said he wanted to do it, and you just wrote him right off. Well, if you remember, a couple things happened. Number one, I was contacted by not Metokur, but by others who apparently are fans of Metokur. And they said, are you aware that he wants to interview you? He's one of these big people who's followed you over the years, and yes, he's trolled you, but we think that the interview would break the internet and you should totally do it. And I said, all right, since I am interested in getting a legit interview, okay, let me do some research. And I swear to God, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making this up. The first video I clicked on YouTube, I searched Mr. Metokur, and a video pops up, and I click on it. And within the first 10 seconds, he's dropped the N-word. And I'm like, dude, and you could tell this is a guy that's okay with saying it, doesn't bother him whatsoever, doesn't care about who he's offending saying it. He's just like, N-word. I'm like, I mean, is this, if I'm looking for an interview that's going to be serious, that people are going to pay attention to, because remember, the reason I wanted to be interviewed is because I wanted to have a definitive piece of content out there that if anyone was interested in learning about the controversies around Darkside Phil and my responses to them, this is the go-to video for it. I didn't want to make an entertaining piece of content. I didn't want to make a money-making piece of content. I just wanted content that was useful to people as a resource to reference. Didn't seem to make sense. The first person, I go to interview, and the guy is going to basically be saying radical stuff, over-the-top stuff. He's associated with that kind of behavior. I don't think that's what I was going for. I was going for a more professional atmosphere than that. You understand? I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been a wild thing to do, okay? But I just, I gave it a shot, and the first thing I hear is the N-word. I'm like, well, dude, then I'm totally not entertaining this, okay? So that was number one, okay? And number two, if you remember, I basically had given up about getting the interview. Like, I was interested in it in the fall of, 2022. And I was fishing around. But I couldn't get anyone serious to do it. Like, for example, Moist Critical, at that point in history, was ragging on me all the time. Okay? He was talking about me a lot in his content, always making fun of me, saying that basically, after the, I forget what game it was. It was that shitty-ass game that we were playing. That looks like the R.R. Geiger shit. I can't remember what the fuck it was called because it's such a bad game. But I was playing it, and that night when I played it, I was in such a bad mood. And I was basically being really mean to the viewers because they hadn't contributed, right? Like, I was over the top being really disgusting and mean towards the viewership. And he called me out for it, right? And I'm like, when I saw him responding to me, I was like, he's absolutely right. And that's someone who, over the years, has called me out for shit. So I'm like, dude, if you're going to call me out, then if I'm looking for an interview for someone to actually talk to me about these topics, why don't you interview me? Instead of just calling me out randomly in a video to get a rise and make some money, why don't you instead give me a chance to actually show to you that I'm a normal dude? I'm not an evil villain like everyone portrays me, you included, or whatever. Of course not. He said, no, I have no interest in interviewing him. Of course you don't, because all you want to do is talk shit about the topic to make money and get a rise, despite the fact that it makes that person look awful and it hurts them in their business. You don't care, right? That's the common methodology of the average content creator, especially the big ones. Absolutely no responsibility, no thinking morally about what they say or do. Just do it to profit and then just move on, right? So you'll talk shit about me all day, but then the moment that I say, hey, give me a fair shot, let's have a real conversation. Oh, no, I'm not interested in that, right? So after basically a lot of people like him doing that thing, I basically was like, well, I'm not interested in any interview. And then the side-scroller interview happened completely by chance. I feel like the side-scroller interview had to happen because that essentially put me in a position where it wasn't a big deal anymore to talk about those topics, like the mobile games thing, because already, I guess people already had seen it and were like, well, whatever. We just believe that Phil is doing the mobile game thing. And it kind of set me up for this year, where now we had the documentary and me responding and admitting the things that I had done and all of that and putting it all behind me. Like, I feel like it all had to happen the way it did. I feel like if I had done the interview with Metokur, it wouldn't have gone well. And basically, it would have hurt me, you know? Like, this is the thing. If I had done the interview with Metokur, it probably would have been highly entertaining. It probably would have been highly inflammatory. It probably would have made me look awful. But it also would have not benefited me at all. Like, it would have been hurtful to me and my rep and the business and everything, right? As opposed to the way that it went instead, yeah, it was a very slow thing. But, you know, having the side scrollers interview go down, me getting screwed over for the year, and then the review tech thing happening and him falling apart, and then me having this big, you know, spin and resurgence and having people listen to me for the first time in many years in a positive way, and being able to basically get my revenge both on review tech and on side scrollers, and then, you know, coming back the way that I have, it's all because I did it the way I did. It could have gone very differently if I had made different choices. And again, this is not me ragging on Metokur at all. I'm just saying I don't think that would have been the right thing or the right time. It actually kind of would have hurt me badly if I had done it, okay? Now, is it unfortunate that now Metokur is in really bad, you know, medical shape and basically can't do this kind of stuff anymore? Yeah, it is. Because I do feel like right now, if he were healthy, 100% this is something that I would do. Like, no lie, 100% I would absolutely have this conversation or interview with him. You know, I have no problem with it. Even if he took the entire time and all he did was fucking rip me a new asshole and make fun of me and tear me apart, I wouldn't even care. Seriously, I wouldn't. Like, I don't really care anymore about this shit, you know? So, you know, it's just unfortunate the timing. Because again, like this week, the fact that I invited him on the show, right? And everyone's like, oh, you're doing it for personal gain. What personal gain? The stream would be demonetized. There would be no pop-ups, no shout-outs, no contributions going on. Okay? That's not the purpose of the show. Or the purpose of the appearance, I should say. I don't think I'm going to get any clout from it. I literally don't even know the guy. I'm going to react to it today to learn about him. What clout could I possibly get out of it, right? The reason I'm doing it is because I've been told by multiple parties it would be the right thing to do. That this guy deserves to have this conversation with me that he's wanted for so long, and that I should present it in a way that it makes it feasible, you know, to happen. Not, oh, I was stubborn all these years, and then after the fact, oh, I wish I had. You know, take advantage of the moment when you can. So that's all this was. So, you know, again, I don't personally think that I had anything to benefit from it if we did the conversation at all. But it is a shame that it seems like it's just never going to happen now, right? So it is what it is. Oh, let's see here. I took a shit today, did a $2.25 tip and says, I'm watching 8 Crazy Nights. They could not make this today. They probably wouldn't make any Adam Sandler content today anymore. I've never seen 8 Crazy Nights. I'm not putting your name on there because it's disgusting. I've never seen 8 Crazy Nights. But, you know, all that kind of 90s humor stuff, they wouldn't make that today. Everything's changed. You know, as we talked about recently, the society as a whole has changed in the last decade. Everyone's idea of what's acceptable behavior and culture and humor and everything has flipped. So, you know, yeah, I agree. Like, probably that stuff wouldn't be about today. They wouldn't even make it, right? When I say I got my revenge on side scrollers, what do I mean? Well, let's see. First off, they ultimately were exposed for being absolutely awful creators. They failed miserably as any kind of an entertainment or video game related culture show. They had to completely rebrand to become a right-wing grifter show. Okay. And then I had him in an interview and I publicly exposed him for who he really was, a malicious individual who was only out for self-serving purposes, who never intended to give me a fair shake during the interview, but instead was trying to spin it into his big break. He wanted the scoop that I was going to admit that I played WWE Champions, and he was going to be the guy who got the scoop, and he was going to benefit huge from it, and he didn't get it, and he became a whiny little baby bitch who then just sucked money from my detractors to try to get something out of the situation. And his mask came completely off in my interview with him when he became incredibly desperate at being exposed, and then said, oh, well, I'll donate money to charity. Oh, well, I'll send money to you. Well, I'll do whatever. He's just a fucking pussy bitch. He always was. He's just someone who takes advantage of a situation, doesn't care about the morality around it or anything like that. As long as his pockets get lined, that's all he cares about. 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you anything he's talking about in his shitty-ass fucking right-wing grifter show is bullshit. He's just fabricating drama. He's making shit up so that he can make money. By the way, I'm just curious. You guys explain this to me. What happened with his Game Awards? Did he actually do them? Remember how he had a big fundraiser this year that he wanted to do his own version of the Game Awards because he doesn't like Jeff Keighley's. He feels like they're too liberal and left-leaning. Did his big Game Awards actually happen? Did they make big news and did they make waves in the gaming industry? Because I didn't hear shit. I heard nothing, right?